Let me tell you something quietly fascinating about the kind of people who let their birthdays slip by like a passing Tuesday. No candles, no noise, no "look at me," just silence. A kind of peace that looks like indifference but isn't. It's something deeper, something the brain and the heart learn together when life has been more about responsibility than celebration. Psychologically, it ties into self-control, dopamine balance, and emotional habits. You see, the same neuroscience that governs motivation and reward, the circuits of focus and discipline, also shape how we respond to attention. Some people train their minds, consciously or not, to mute the very chemical rush that once made birthdays feel like magic. Over time, celebration becomes replaced by composure, excitement, by reflection. They say it's just another day, but really, it's a day that reminds them of everything they've learned about expectations, about how attention can feel like both comfort and chaos. For them, maturity isn't about joylessness. It's about mastering emotional efficiency, knowing when to invest energy and when to conserve it. Maybe you know someone like that. Maybe you are someone like that. You scroll through the messages. You reply with gratitude. But deep down, it feels like a test you didn't sign up for, a quiet measure of who still remembers. And yet, you tell yourself you're fine, that you've grown past needing to be seen. But here's the paradox. Even emotional strength has a cost. Even self-control can harden joy. And that's where this story begins. Because behind every calm, "it's just another day," lies a psychology worth exploring. One that reveals how the pursuit of peace sometimes masks the longing to be noticed. Comment one word below. Reflection. And let's see how many of us still feel that quiet tug inside. There's a strange beauty in the phrase, "it's just another day," because for some, it's a declaration of peace. For others, it's a quiet shield. Psychologists often describe birthdays as emotional checkpoints. They awaken the brain's natural, self-reflective systems, the same ones involved in dopamine, attention, and motivation regulation. It's a neurological moment where your mind measures progress, identity, and meaning, sometimes without you even realizing it. For emotionally self-aware people, this day becomes less about parties and more about perspective. They don't crave the thrill anymore. They crave alignment. They ask, "Did I live this year with purpose?" instead of, "Who remembered me?" But beneath that composure lies something deeper, an unspoken history of expectation. Because somewhere along the way, many of us learned that joy is safer when it's quiet. We learned that celebration, when unmet, can turn into disappointment. And disappointment, repeated often enough, trains the nervous system to associate excitement with risk. That's emotional conditioning. Over time, the brain reprograms itself for stability over stimulation. That's why people who've been hurt by inconsistency, forgotten birthdays, broken promises, unstable love, eventually start saying things like, "I don't care." They do care, but caring has cost them before. So now, they regulate. They protect their equilibrium by limiting emotional highs. And this protection works for a while. But here's the twist. The same control that prevents pain can also prevent joy. Because in choosing not to expect, we quietly stop allowing ourselves to be surprised. We dull the brain's reward system, the dopamine loop that connects anticipation to delight. It's not depression, it's defense, a sophisticated emotional firewall. Yet that firewall has consequences. The more we avoid being let down, the less capacity we have for awe. Think about that. How many moments have you brushed off, telling yourself, "It's fine," when what you meant was, "I wish it felt different"? This is the paradox of emotional maturity. We crave stability, yet ache for wonder. We want control, but secretly miss chaos. The good kind, the spontaneous laughter, the surprise text, The unexpected voice that says, "Hey, I was thinking of you." That's the hidden heartbeat of birthday avoidance. It's not apathy, it's nostalgia restrained. If you're still here, type the word presence. Let's see how many of us are learning to celebrate being rather than being noticed. People who don't celebrate their birthdays often share one subtle trait, a high internal locus of control. They've learned that meaning must come from within. They don't wait for validation. They self-generate worth. In psychology, that's growth, the growth mindset at work. But even growth can be lonely, because when you become the source of your own stability, you stop asking others to hold you. And when you stop asking, people often stop offering. So the day passes quietly. A few texts, a polite smile, a whispered thought. Did anyone remember? And then, back to life. They say they don't need it, but deep down, part of them still wonders what it would feel like to be remembered without reminding. This is the emotional contradiction modern adults carry. Independence and invisibility intertwined. We spend years training ourselves to be self-sufficient, to master time management, self-control, and focus, only to realize that the human heart never signed that same contract. The heart still wants to be seen. There's another layer to this story, the societal one. We live in a culture that glorifies performance over presence. Birthdays, like success, have become performative, filtered through screens, curated for timelines, validated by numbers. But when the performance fades, silence hits harder. Because now, not only are you contending with your emotions, you're contending with everyone else's display of being remembered. You scroll, see balloons, captions, crowds, and suddenly that quiet coffee on your own birthday feels smaller, less significant. But here's what's fascinating. Neuroscientists have found that social comparison activates the same reward circuits as actual physical pain. The dopamine dip that follows scrolling through others' celebrations isn't just emotional, it's chemical. That's why some people detach entirely. They'd rather call it just another day than risk the sting of invisibility. So they focus elsewhere. They pour that energy into productivity, habits, and growth. They replace candles with calendars, parties with plans, and they convince themselves that progress is celebration enough. Sometimes it is. But sometimes that busyness becomes camouflage, a way of keeping the mind occupied so the heart doesn't ask the hard questions. Am I being seen for who I am or for what I do? When did acknowledgement start feeling unnecessary, or worse, uncomfortable? And why does peace sometimes feel like loneliness dressed up as strength? The truth is, there's nothing wrong with not celebrating, but there's something tragic about not allowing yourself to be celebrated. Because every human being, even the most disciplined, the most composed, needs small mirrors of recognition, not grand gestures, just moments that whisper, "I see you, you matter." It's how the nervous system recharges its social circuitry. Connection isn't a luxury, it's a biological necessity. Studies in social neuroscience show that when people experience sincere recognition, the brain releases oxytocin, the hormone of safety, belonging, and trust. It lowers cortisol, reduces stress, and even restores creative focus. That means one genuine message, one small acknowledgement, can do more for your mental clarity than hours of forced motivation. And that's why birthdays, even quietly observed, still matter. They remind us to check in with ourselves, to pause the constant next and ask, what have I actually become? That pause, that single act of reflection, is itself a form of focus training. It's psychological maintenance for the soul. But not everyone knows how to pause. Many of us grew up equating stillness with laziness. So when our birthday arrives, we downplay it. We stay productive. We move on. We call it maturity. But sometimes it's avoidance. Avoidance of reflection. avoidance of emotion, avoidance of remembering who we used to be. Because remembering comes with contrast. The child who once blew candles versus the adult who now blows out expectations. And yet, both versions live within us. The curious one, the cautious one, the dreamer, the doer, the one who once believed in magic, and the one who now manages time. Psychological wholeness isn't about choosing between them, it's about integrating them. To say, I am both. I can be reflective and still crave joy. That's emotional balance. That's evolution. There's another piece of this puzzle, memory. The hippocampus, which stores long-term emotional memory, lights up during anniversaries and personal milestones. Even if we consciously ignore the date, the body remembers. The heart recognizes the rhythm of time. That's why you might wake up feeling strange on your birthday. Not sad, not happy, just aware. Your subconscious is processing time's passage, and in that awareness lies the opportunity for something beautiful, gratitude. Because gratitude, unlike excitement, doesn't depend on others. It's internal, stable, sustainable. When you shift your emotional goal from being celebrated to being grateful, your brain chemistry changes. Dopamine becomes steady, cortisol drops. The neuroscience of contentment begins to take over. You stop needing the world to validate your existence, because existence itself becomes enough. That's emotional freedom. But freedom doesn't erase humanity. It just softens it, because even as you learn to celebrate quietly, that small ache remains. The part of you that hopes someone remembers without being told. And that's okay. That's the most human thing of all. Because wanting to be remembered isn't weakness. It's the emotional echo of connection. Even the most independent souls crave resonance. Not applause, just recognition. A soft, hey, I see you. And maybe that's why birthdays, even when uncelebrated, are still powerful. They act as mirrors, showing us who we've become in the silence. Some see strength, some see fatigue, some see both, and quietly realize they're allowed to feel both. Because healing doesn't always look like happiness. Sometimes it looks like calm acceptance, and calm is its own kind of joy. So when someone says, I don't celebrate my birthday, don't assume detachment. It might be maturity, it might be healing, it might even be peace. But more often, it's a quiet negotiation between who they were and who they're becoming. They're not running from the day, they're redefining it. They've learned that life itself, the ordinary coffee, the subtle sunlight, the silence between messages, is the real celebration. Because those who've truly suffered disappointment understand that the most sustainable form of happiness is consistency, a consistent peace, a consistent self-respect, a consistent love that doesn't rely on reminders. And that's something no calendar can give or take away. So if you've ever whispered, it's just another day, remember, that's not disconnection, that's evolution. You're learning to find meaning in the mundane, to locate celebration in existence, not occasion. To live as though every day is a quiet birthday, a day you choose to keep becoming yourself. And that's one of the rarest forms of freedom. Because the goal was never to be celebrated by others. It was to become someone worth celebrating to yourself. Maybe the real psychology of people who never celebrate their birthdays isn't about detachment, it's about evolution. A quiet graduation from needing the world's applause to trusting your own rhythm. You see, emotional growth often looks like solitude. Not loneliness, but peace that doesn't beg to be noticed. Because somewhere between childhood wonder and adult realism, we begin to realize joy can't depend on who remembers us. It has to come from who we remember ourselves to be. When you stop waiting for the party, you start hosting one inside your mind. a quiet gratitude for survival. You stop measuring your worth in candles or calls and start measuring it in lessons learned, boundaries respected, and peace maintained. That's maturity, yes, but also grace. Because life will always have people who forget, who disappear, who miss the moment. But it will also have strangers who smile at you, mornings that arrive with golden light, and days that surprise you into feeling alive again. Those are the new birthdays. The small, ordinary resurrections we experience every time we choose presence over performance. And that choice, to celebrate inwardly instead of outwardly, doesn't mean you're cold. It means you're wise. You've learned that time management isn't just about hours, it's about energy. And protecting your peace is the highest form of discipline. Still, the heart remains human. It beats softer, but it still hopes. It still loves the thought that somewhere, someone paused, even for a second, and thought of you. And that's not regression. That's remembrance. Because being self-sufficient doesn't erase your need for connection. It simply means you've learned to cherish it without clinging to it. So maybe this year, or the next, you won't post about it. You won't announce it. You'll just wake up, breathe, and smile quietly because you made it. Another year, another chance, another moment to exist. And maybe that's enough. But if someone does reach out, let them in. Don't say it's nothing. Say thank you, because letting yourself be celebrated, even softly, is part of healing too. It reminds your nervous system that you're still safe being seen, that it's okay to receive warmth without fear, that it's okay to feel joy without guilt, because your birthday isn't a test of who cares. It's a reminder of how far you've come. Every version of you, the quiet child, the disciplined adult, the reflective soul, all converging into this single day that says you're still here and that matters. So if you've ever whispered, it's just another day, I hope you realize it's not indifference, it's awareness. Awareness that life itself, the ordinary, the quiet, the uncelebrated, is the truest miracle of all. And maybe that's the lesson the universe gives us once a year. Not to make noise, but to listen to our own timeline, our own pulse, our own presence, and recognize that the act of being alive is already the greatest celebration there is. Because you don't need a party to mark your becoming. You don't need applause to validate your existence. You just need a moment, one breath of awareness, to realize you've been becoming all along. So today, even if no one says it, let me, happy birthday. Not because of the date, but because you're still becoming who you were always meant to be. And that, quietly, beautifully, endlessly, is worth celebrating. Comment the word gratitude. Let's fill this space with quiet thankfulness for the years we've lived, the lessons we've learned, and the strength it took to keep showing up.